On to Fallout.
Yes.
We
Show we've been like up and down, kind of on the fence
yeah,
about.
we've been awaiting it.
Yes.
Do you know what this show has proven to me more than anything else?
That Halo did a terrible job.
That is a symptom rather than
Yeah, no.
the conclusion I've come to.
Yeah.
We are now at a time where we can actually be confident with video games getting adaptations. Because if you think about, in reality, the last 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
video game adaptations have been more good than bad.
Yes, but there's not been many. How many?
2 Sonic films,
Oh, I suppose
Mario
Sonic.
film, Last of Us.
Yeah, but I don't think Mario was okay. I suppose.
I didn't like it, but a lot of people really did like it.
To be fair, I will say actually the Mario world was adapted. Yeah, no, I will say yeah, you're right. Other than the Sonic slight mishap with that first trailer, but it fixed
But they
it.
fixed that, and
Yeah.
now it's really good. Gran Turismo was another one. I know it's kind of based on a true story. But
Oh no, yeah,
game.
I still need to watch that, but that is apparently one of the best car films in the last like 10 years.
The Witcher's been incredibly popular on Netflix. I know it might not necessarily have been good to diehard fans, but it's been incredibly popular. You can't.
I will
disagree with
say the first 2 seasons, yes. Season 3 then took a turn.
Five Nights at Freddy's was a huge success.
True.
Like once upon a time, if you heard a video game you liked was getting an adaptation, you were instantly like, "Oh fuck!" But now there's like a better than 50% chance you might actually get something watchable.
True, that is true.
Which makes Halo being bad even more annoying.
Yeah, it really does.
I was skeptical coming into Fallout.
So was I. We talked about it a few times of like
it's not an easy world to get right. They were told they had to do a brand new story. It was scary.
Yeah, it was. We were very worried that they would, because they had to do a new story, they would then lean too heavily on like Easter eggs or nods to the video game.
There were so many of, by the way.
There was, but I don't actually ever feel like
they were never overwhelming.
Well, not even that. They were never like, oh, I'm going to use this thing that quite clearly is a nod to an item in the video game.
Yeah.
It was all just like stuff in the background or stuff would be happening like, oh, like right away, or
they made very good very, very good the thing prop. They made very, very good and faithful props, which just instantly put you in the universe.
Yes.
If you've played loads of Fallout, you see a stim pack, you see Radaway, you see a 10mm pistol, you see power armor that is that faithfully recreated. You're like, yes, I know where I am. I know what's happening.
Oh yeah, and when obviously they did things with like using the stim packs. There was the moments where you're like, the people that know the games are like, oh, they're gonna get a stim pack. Are they getting a stim pack? Oh, they got a stim pack. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, because it made sense for the situation, and then it's like, okay, they are staying faithful to like the mechanics of the world of like, there are these things that can heal you.
Stim pack, you're fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like there's not to like trying to make it more realistic because they feel like it needs to for the show or whatever. I think the only thing that I've played I've played Fallout 3 somewhat, and I played some of New Vegas. I'm not a huge Fallout game player. I haven't played a lot of them. I was very much like Skyrim and stuff. My mate, big on Fallout, and we were watching the first couple of episodes together. The only thing he'd said in them first 2 episodes that he was like, was the power armor. He was like, the jets in the arms isn't a thing. It's a jetpack on the back. Don't get why they changed that.
Yeah.
Which I get.
I did see a lot of people angry about that. Do you know what my biggest annoyance is with any criticism for the show?
Go on.
A lot of the criticism I've seen, and there has been a lot, has been the most nitpicky bullshit I've ever seen, which
Mm.
almost makes me want to disregard everything the person said, even if there is some valid criticisms in there. When you're criticizing something and it's like one valid criticism and 9 bits of nitpicky bullshit, you're just harming the one bit of valid criticism. You're not boosting your argument with all the nitpicks.
Yeah, my attitude is when I see people being like super nitpicky, I'm like, okay, you're clearly a very hardcore fan of the Fallout games. I get that you want it to be perfect, but there is leeway there for like small little things. Like, be a bit more relaxed about it. Things like the jetpack, I think that's a bit more of a like fair like criticism, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't take away from
It
it.
doesn't change anything. They had a
No.
jetpack. They've just changed the form factor. Like,
And
it's
I
not
said to my
the
mate,
end
I
of
was
the
like,
world.
I feel like they changed the way it was done because let's be honest, this generation of youngsters that probably would watch the show and maybe don't know Fallout probably have seen Iron Man, understand how Iron Man's suit flies, think, oh, big iron suit, arm jet propulsion. This all makes sense to me. I can understand that. It's
And
almost like
also,
they've
it
lent into that a little bit.
means, and also, it's one less thing for them to have to make an actual prop out of.
Yeah.
Because like the power armor was like all real. Like, it was there, it was movable, they moved around it. If you're adding another massive bulky component to the back of it,
Yep.
makes it a lot more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Drop down flap CGI,
Yep.
very easy.
Yeah,
You've got to, when it comes to video game adaptations, you've got to allow a little bit for making a prop work better. And when they were so faithful to basically every prop, you can't complain. Like, they had iguana on a stick, they had stim packs, they had laser rifles, they had laser pistols, they had
the junk cannon.
Yeah, the junk cannon, fusion cores looked so like it felt like I was in Fallout.
Oh yeah,
It was so good in that.
That's something I think they did an amazing job. Was like, so my mate and his girlfriend, big Fallout fans, know a lot of like the lore of the games, played them. So when they were watching, they were like, "Oh, this is like, oh, Brotherhood. This is Brotherhood of Steel, surely." Yeah, and like, they were getting all the lore references.
Yeah.
For me, I like somewhat have I have an understanding of the Fallout game and bits, and my girlfriend had like no clue. I think they did a great job because there's a lot of people that probably watch this have no clue about any of the Fallout lore, but I think they did a really good job of telling how the Fallout world works without making it too like nods to the games for any reason or like too over explainy. I think they did a really good job of like the time jumping back and forth to like explain things and doing it in like really good points in the story.
Yeah, they kept it relevant.
For like new fans, I think they've done an amazing job of getting them on board, which I think is why this has also been so successful. The same way
Absolutely.
The Last of Us was great for people that had never played games to like, oh, this is a great story.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's what we said when we were talking about it. It's like, you've got to have your references in there for fans, but don't make it, if you haven't played the game, you don't know what's going on. They nailed that balance perfectly. I've seen videos on YouTube. It's like 113 Easter eggs you didn't see in Fallout, and I'm not exaggerating. They had 113.
There's loads. Even plenty I didn't get.
But a lot of them aren't critical to understanding the story, and the ones that are critical, you still have enough information from the story to get what that thing is without needing to understand why it's also an Easter egg. Like the new California Republic. Obviously, for Fallout Vegas fans, that was huge. They're like, "Oh my god, it's the NCR!" Woo! To someone just watching it, they're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So there was an attempt at civilization. Yep. Sandy Shores got nuked. Something went wrong. Okay, cool. Like, that balance is almost unheard of in video game adaptations.
The same balance that you're on about there for like the fans and new people. It's like Vault, like the Vault that we start in. So we've got 31, 32, and 33. Fans of the games know the vaults are not as they seem.
Exactly.
Every vault has its own little shtick. So from the get-go, my mate and his girlfriend were like they're like, what is this vault? What's its thing?
Yeah.
Trying to understand it. For new people, they're like, okay, cool, this is like vault, like, and because they've picked like a seemingly perfect vault situation.
Yeah, a control vault. And that's the thing, they put you in, and at first you can kind of go, okay, there might be a control vault where they're not really doing anything too crazy.
But
and
there's
then they just
always
slowly
something
reveal.
going
So
on.
good.
And that's the
So
thing, it's
good.
like, you then get both the fans of the games and new fans. Both are on the same thing of trying to, like, the new fans are trying to figure out what the vaults are, and then also then, like, as they get things revealed that the vaults are different, they're like, oh wait, so what's up with this vault that we started in?
Yeah.
The fans of the games are instantly like, okay, let's figure out what's going on. What's this vault? And I also enjoyed how they kind of explained that throughout the story and slowly revealed this idea that, oh wait, the Vault-Tec and all this like shady stuff that they're up to was very cool. I looked up the timeline because I was a little confused on where this lied.
This is the most recent thing in the timeline.
Yes. Because obviously
I think makes sense. They're like, the games all happened before this, and this doesn't have to affect anything we're doing in the future because we can make that with this in mind. It's very, very
yeah,
smart.
because we knew they were told they couldn't do any existing for like storylines, which means the story couldn't be focused on a vault that had already been done. It could maybe mention certain vaults, and then I think them picking to do it as like the most recent thing essentially gave them the freedom to be like, look, all the games are canon, that's history. You have no concept of what could have happened beyond Fallout 4 because we've not timeline wise. So it's like we have the freedom there. Apparently they were told no one knows what, but apparently Todd Howard gave them a list of locations and storylines they weren't allowed to do because it will conflict with Fallout 5, which people are already trying to figure out.
People are like, release the list.
So the running theory that I've seen is it's gonna be in San Francisco.
That'd be kind of fun.
Because they're like, well, that would kind of be an easy place for Hollywood to have filmed from and do this show. And obviously after that explicitly tell them you're not allowed in case they wanted to. And people trying to work out different things. But yeah, because I also saw a lot of people talk about the timeline because of, now this is, for the people that, I presume if you're listening to this segment of the podcast, you have seen the show. We've talked about some spoilers. Not massively, really. We've kind of just broadly talked, but the end of the show shows New Vegas. And everyone's like, what the fuck? That means the games are canon. It's all collapsed and broken. There's, well, someone's already gone back to the games and there's like one of the characters, I can't, like, this is why I forget New Vegas very well. I forgot what the creatures are called, but he talks about the fact that like they're like eventually, like if this is not kept properly, if New Vegas isn't protected, it will become overrun. So the theory is we are going to get to see New Vegas like collapsed and overrun by these creatures and post what we know from the games.
It was also really funny because there was a Deathclaw skull as well on the floor. And everyone was like, they see New Vegas and they're like, that's also, they're like, wait, who the fuck killed that Deathclaw? That's terrifying. Who's responsible for that?
But I mean, that also, I would be shocked if we don't get season 2. I don't know if it's been greenlit.
I don't think it's officially been greenlit, but this show has been a phenomenal success. My only criticism is stop doing binge releases.
Yeah,
no. Bear in mind, like how much this story builds up with like the detective nature of the story inside the vaults.
Yeah.
What is the Ghoul's story? What is Maximus's story? What did this lady want with Lucy's dad? And that big reveal. Imagine if we had 8 weeks of building up to that. Well, imagine.
Let's be honest. The best way they should have done it is what we've seen a lot happen recently is first 2 episodes get released. by the end of those first 2 episodes, you've had all the characters introduced, and
and
you're
you're
like,
ready.
okay, we've got like the 3 main characters. We know the triangle of what's going on here. We're ready to start this series. And like you say, then into weekly episode release, which we've seen Prime do with Rings of Power. So it's not
They
like
did it with
they,
Rings of Power. They do it with The Boys.
yeah. So it's for whatever reason they chose to do binge. I don't know, but like
I don't know.
I would like to see them switch to weekly for season 2.
I don't know how, but we need to lobby the governments of the world to make binge dropping illegal. It's bad. It's bad for the artists. Like, I know this sounds so stupid. I know it's like, oh, it's not really that deep. It's bad for the artist because this show is genuinely really good, and there's so much buzz and excitement about it online. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of getting 7 weeks, if they did a double drop and then weekly
Yeah.
episodes, which I think would have been the best way to do it for a brand new show,
Mm-hmm.
we're now going to have maybe 2 weeks of really, oh, this is awesome, and then it
Mm-hmm.
will go quiet again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No,
that is
I
not
agree.
good.
I
That's
think
not good.
when you think about how much buzz this has got, and maybe they really didn't expect it to do this well, and it's like you say, you could have had 7 weeks of this building up with people
And
already
with like how dramatic the story crescendos into.
because you would have also
Come
got
on.
like the fans figuring stuff out and being like, "Oh, you're not ready for where we think this is going," or this like
And,
you don't know what they're gonna tell you next.
yeah, and like by the end of the second episode, you've got an idea like some not all is as it seems with the
Mm,
vaults. So what you get is you get a bunch of new fans who are just watching this show, find out that, oh no, vaults are evil. There's always some conspiracy going on, so they get to be in with the fun straight away as well.
mm-hmm.
And also, new fans of the show who find it, like now after it's been out for a week,
Yeah.
don't have the entire show spoiled for them.
Yes. True. That is
Like
also
I,
like if you didn't
in
watch in
and
the first week, you are at risk of it being spoiled.
yeah, like, don't get me wrong, it's a great show. It's very bingeable. Cool. If you are the kind of person who only wants to binge content,
Mm.
you can wait until the entire season is out and then binge it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing stopping you doing that.
Yeah.
But dropping it as a binge on day one ruins the show. That's why I didn't watch the last season of Umbrella Academy. Because it all dropped on one day. I watched the first episode, then I got sidetracked with other stuff. And then before you get back to it, because there's one new episode out, it's been 6 weeks where I could have found time to watch one episode, but because I'm not like, oh, there's a new one, I forget about it, it never gets watched. It's bad for everyone. And it does my head in.
Now, here's a question for you then. For
Go on.
season 2,
Uh-huh.
do you think they should just continue hard on with this story as if it's straight carrying on? Or do you start from the perspective of another vault, but merges
Oh,
into this time at the same timeline, but
do like
merges into
do like 3 seasons of tangential storylines that end up with a fourth season where all roads lead to New Vegas?
something like that? Or like, yeah, you have another vault that it's just added into the mix.
There's definitely a way it can work. However, leaving fans with the last thing they see being New Vegas and then leaving it alone again might go very badly for you, even if season 2 is really good. What I will say is an absolute certainty is I need a Deathclaw in season 2. With the quality of the CGI and the props and everything, I need our protagonist, be it Lucy, be it someone else, whatever. I need our protagonist being terrified fighting a Deathclaw. I've already seen some people online saying they should literally do a 40-minute episode, which is basically just a straight up horror episode of trying to escape, fight, survive an encounter with a Deathclaw.
I mean,
And,
yeah.
and I'm here, I'm like, it definitely can work. 100% it can work. Make it essentially a Jurassic Park episode.
Yeah. I mean, some of the like fight moments from this season 1 were great. Like
Yeah.
I forget what the bears are called, but the mutant bears.
Yeah.
The
The Yao guys.
Yeah. Like those moments so well done. Like, and that's the thing. There was so much mystery and intrigue to this season or to this show, but there was so many funny moments as well.
Oh, I loved the twist in whatever vault they ended up in, Vault 4, was it? Where she's like, oh my god, they're experimenting on these people. And then they're like, no, we're not experimenting on them. They were experimented on by Vault-Tec, you people, years ago. We're just trying to keep them out of pain. That twist is it's such a good twist.
Well, it's also the tie-in as well to the Vault 4 was the one that was in the old, like when it's in the flashbacks, and you're like, oh, this is the one with the scientists, and then you're like, oh shit, this is what the scientists got up to. And they've continued, and this idea that because we've seen in Vault 33, like it's just forever been carried on, you think, oh shit, they've been carrying this on, like that's just their protocol.
That's why they've been bringing people from the surface to experiment on them. Look at all these mutants everywhere. Especially
because it also showed like the pan back when they're in that room and it says test subjects, and you think, oh shit, okay, and then it's like, no, it's all like they're just trying to exist.
We just haven't relabeled the fucking room.
Yeah, and then at the end when you think, oh, well, she's dead and he's about to go mental with his power armor, and then he's just like, and you are free. And she's like, wait,
and
what?
Because we're sentencing you to death in the overworld, here is 2 weeks of supplies.
Which get destroyed.
It's like, but you know what that encounter is as well? It is the most like Bethesda RPG encounter ever.
Mm-hmm.
You're like there, like, oh, can I talk my way out of this? Fail check. Persuasion fail.
Yeah.
Persuasion fail. You're like, oh fuck, I'm gonna have to fight my way out of here. How many guys are there's like 100 people? This encounter's gonna be fucking nuts. You consider save scumming to just get the nice talk your way out of it, and then they're like, here is free stuff. Meanwhile, you've already started shooting, and you're like, oh wait, what?
Yeah, it really is.
Like it just captured that feeling of the RPG so well.
It did.
Exactly like what we said with D&D Honor Among Thieves. Another video game or game
true.
That got adapted really well, because there was moments in D&D where you're like, no, I could see that happening in a game.
Yeah.
Like Like I can imagine that scene. There was a couple of bits like that in the game.
Oh yeah, there
show
really was.
That were just so good. I loved it.
It was so well. It was really well done, and definitely has made me kind of wish I'd given the Fallout games more of my time.
Yeah, no, that's. I mean, they're all on Game Pass now.
Well, yeah, I will potentially. I will do them.
But yeah, it's quite upset me that they didn't go for a weekly release. Yes, obviously, I'm happy that I've seen the entire story now, but I was hooked after the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I know.
So we'd be sat here right now, having watched the first 2 episodes, just excited for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, from our selfish take, it would have been great content for us for 7 weeks, but we only talked about it for 1. I'm sure we'll talk about it again, though.
Absolutely, and I can't wait for season 2. One thing that I did see that really made me laugh. So obviously the director for this was Jonathan Nolan.
Yeah, for like most of the episodes.
Yeah, he wrote all of it, I believe, or at least co-wrote all of it, and he was the director of like half the episodes, I think.
I think something like that. Yeah.
So of course, yeah, within a year, his brother released a film about the birth of the atomic bomb. And he released
That's a good point.
About
the use of it.
The atomic bomb. And I didn't even click, but that's such a weird, funny, unnecessary, because it's not like the same style of content.
No, and it's not like
it's really funny.
It wouldn't have been planned or anything. It's just happened. Of course it wouldn't. They were just working on their things. Are we saying that we just need a Nolan? We just need to make sure that a Nolan directs a TV show and it'll be good, like a game TV show. Yeah, the third Nolan brother isn't really in the film industry. He's in the killing people industry. Yeah. he's a hitman that's on the run. Well, or maybe in prison. I can't remember which. But yeah, I hope we get an official word of a season 2 soon. Yeah. It's been crazy that Fallout 76, I believe, has seen its highest ever player base. Yes, it has. As a result of this show, huge margin as well. Which shows how much this show's done. Fallout 4 got an update. It's getting an update on the 25th or the 23rd, sorry. I think Fallout 76 did get a bunch of new weapons and stuff added that people believe tied into. Fallout Shelter got an update.
that
I mean, it
added
makes sense.
Maximus, Lucy, the Ghoul.
Oh well, there you go.
I believe it adds the dog X04 or whatever his
Oh
name
yeah,
was, as a pet that you can get in the game.
that's cool.
Like, yeah, so it's been done really well. I hope we get more seasons of this. And it once again goes to show, as long as you're faithful in capturing the world, the story shouldn't be as hard, realistically.
Yeah, if you can nail the vibe of the world, that was like the world building, and make you feel like you are in the same world as the games, and you can fit, as long as the story stays true to that, like you can write a story from scratch. Especially in the world of Fallout, the idea of all these vaults being different, like you've got so much freedom there.
Now people are going, they want a Skyrim show. Called Game of Thrones, people.
It kind of is.
But yeah, love it. I want a second season, and if you haven't already, consider go watching it.
Oh yeah, definitely go watch it for sure.